Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sarah and this is Crochet Vision. Today we're going to do some stuff that's not quite crochet related, but it is knitting related. It's a video I've been promising you for quite some time. It's knitting machine time. It is knitting machine 101. This is a Sentro 40 pin knitting machine. And we're going to open her up. We're going to unbox her. We're also going to talk about everything I do to the machine, with the machine, every other product that I use with the machine. Everything that I'm talking about today will be linked in the description for you to purchase from Amazon. We are not just going to be unboxing the Sentro 40 pin knitting machine today. I also have the big boy, the Addi. This is the Addi 46 pin knitting machine, and we're going to be unboxing this one as well. Now, these two machines are not interchangeable. They are two very different machines, and the price difference, two different machines, is extreme. They are made differently. This machine comes from Germany. The other machine it's made by Jammit, Jammit, is the parent company of Sentro. Addi's are way more expensive. They're considered the better machine, but Addi does not make a 40 pin knitting machine, and that's what I use for my ear warmers. Machines are not interchangeable. If you buy the one size round machine, that's the size that you have. So you can't make it bigger or smaller. You have to buy a new machine. So Sentro makes the 22 pin, I think there's a 32 pin now. I don't have that one. The 40 pin and the 48 pin. I have the 40 and the 48. I have the Addi in the 22 and now the 46. I upgraded. We now have the 46 and we're going to open her up and unbox her. Now, other things that I use with the knitting machine. The knitting machine does come with needles. I like metal ones better. I got these on Amazon. They come in a pack of a bunch for like $5. So I like the metal needles better. That's just my personal preference. They're sharper. They work better for me. That's just my personal preference. So needles. This is sewing machine oil. I use this for the machine. There are gears. Gears need to be oiled and they are just plastic. So sewing machine oil. It's not going to get onto your project. It's kind of just like a knitting machine, and even if it does, it is meant for fibers. It's meant for fabric. It's the same oil you will use for your sewing machine, so it will be fine even if it does get onto your project. The next thing I have here, this is a needle threader in case you have a hard time threading those needles. Okay. I mount my knitting machine to this little 2-foot table that I have here. You'll see it in a minute once we do start unboxing the machine. I leave it on this table and I mount it to the table using alien tape. This is the name brand alien tape. It's a double-sided tape. It's a mounting tape. It works really well for me. I've never had any problems with it. I think I got this in like a 4-pack and I've never used a whole roll yet. So I love this tape. I can't talk any more highly about it. And I leave the machine on this table. So for me, I mount it. The machine does come with suction cups. They don't work really well. They don't keep the machine in place. They'll come up. I haven't had good luck with the suction cups that come with the machine. That's just my 2 cents. And then I have a digital row counter. This also comes with a magnet. Whoop. Every time the magnet passes over the yellow piece, it will count. There's a battery in it. It counts. We're going to put it on the machine. You'll see how it works as we go on it. Again, this is all linked in the description. Do I have anything else that I need to say about the machines before we open them up? Oh, and scissors. You're going to need scissors. Duh. Scissors. Machines. Somewhere to mount the machine. I think everything else is going to be in this box. So I think that means it's time to open her up. Okay. All right, so this is my table that I'm going to mount it to. This table has definitely seen better days, but it works for what I need it to. There is tape all on the sides of this box. Okay, there we go. And there she is. Okay. Ooh, what just fell? I don't know. These are the little like baby skeins of yarn that the machine comes with. These are all of the legs. There's a screwdriver in here, a crochet hook, the yarn tensioner, a sewing needle. These are the suction cups and all the screws that you're going to need to attach the legs. This is a pair of circular knitting needles, if you've never seen what those look like. So it comes with a pair of those and 2 more skeins of yarn. I think there were supposed to be 4 total, but we got 3. So now we're gonna take her out of the box. Is this, what do I keep hearing in here? I don't know. I don't think I've ever had one boxed this nicely, so that's different. There we go. Okay. So there she is out of the box. Ooh, she's fresh. Okay. Now we're going to flip it over, and each of these 4 spots here is where the legs are going to go. We've got 1, 2, that was not necessary. 3, 4, and the screws should be in this little baggie here. It does come with a screwdriver, which is very helpful. There we go. I'm like, why is that leg not getting into the spot? Okay. 3 and 4. Beautiful. Now, if you were to use the suction cups, they would go into these spots here, and you would just push them in. I am not going to use the suction cups. Maybe the screws, there we go. So that's what the suction cups are. They're honestly rather wimpy. I'm just gonna put those back in the bag. I think I'm gonna start back here. This is a magnetized screwdriver, which makes this a little bit easier. Whoop! You still have to be careful or that will happen. It is going to be tight to get these screws in. There we go. That's the first one. Come on. Two. You can't even see me doing it. There we go. Three. That one's on a real diagonal. I'm gonna undo that. Okay, that is all 4 legs, all in and done. Just to show you everything else that came in this little baggie, we have a little sewing needle. Again, I like to use the metal ones instead of this plastic one. I just like metal needles better than plastic. This is the yarn tensioner. We're gonna attach that to the front of the machine. Then it comes with a crochet hook. I don't even know what size this crochet hook is. A 3.75 millimeter, fantastic. And then this is just a larger sewing needle. I'm gonna flip it on its side so you could see where the yarn tensioner goes. That's where the yarn tensioner piece is going to go. That's this piece right here. This little spring piece is going to go on the top, and you're literally just going to click it right into place. And that's it. Now it's gonna be able to move up and down. The other thing on the front of this machine that you'll see is T and P. This stands for tube or panel. For most of the projects that I work on, I will have it on the tube setting. So pushed up for T, down for P. We're gonna keep it up for tube. I mean, now the machine is really ready to go. It sounds a little loud. So before I put any yarn through the machine, I'm gonna oil this thing. Your machine should be able to run freely forwards and backwards. Now you'll notice as I'm spinning this around, you're gonna have one black pin and the rest are all white. That's because that's your starting pin, that's your number one. Each of these should be numbered all the way around. You're working in continuous rounds when you're working on the tube setting, so that is the only way you're gonna know where you're starting and where you're ending. So that's why the one is marked a different color than the rest. Now you've made it back around. But it should be able to move freely going all the way around. If you put it on the panel setting, it's gonna stop you. These are gonna go all the way around and you're gonna get stuck because the panel wants you to go back and forth. So we're gonna switch it back to tube and we're not gonna have any issues. I've bought many of these machines in the past few years. I've always seen this sheet for how to attach the legs and the suction cups, and then it basically says you're ready to go. This is, I think, the first time that I've ever seen this little packet. But it also doesn't call it a knitting machine or a Sentro knitting machine or anything like that. It says Weaver Epoch. Okay. So this gives you a little bit of instructions, but it does not tell you how to make a hat, how many rows to do, how to make a scarf. It doesn't give you any of those instructions, but it does tell you how to thread it and start it and stuff. So that's an interesting thing that I have never seen before. So, all right. I also don't think that there's any instructions on the box. Let's double check the box real quick. Yeah, so the box says you can do all sorts of practical items, except it doesn't give you any instructions on how to do any of that stuff. It also says it comes with 4 skeins of yarn. Mine came with 3 of these 4, which, okay, fine. The 2 knitting needles, the circular knitting needles. Okay, it did all that stuff. That's cool. But I've never seen any of those sorts. And then on the front, like, there's this cute little braided pattern, but no directions on how to do any of that stuff. So, but it's more than a toy. Just okay. Okay. I also want to note that that's a tucked stitch, that's a tucked stitch, that's a tucked stitch. That's really funny that on their picture that they put on the box, it has tucked stitches. Okay. I'm going to show you guys how to fix those. So these gears sound a little crunchy. They're just rough. It's a new machine, which is totally fine. We're going to use our handy dandy sewing machine oil. This one in particular is the Zoom Spout. That's the one that I like. I still don't think I've used an entire bottle. I think I've lost a bottle of oil before I've used an entire bottle of oil. You have to make sure that the oil is actually going through this long straw. It will bubble. Like, I don't know if you can see this on camera. You see how it's bubbling? Like, you got to make sure that the oil is actually, there we go, going through this straw. And then we're just gonna, can we see this? Yeah. Put one little drop of oil on each peg, and that's going to drip down into the gears. I don't know if I got this one. I'm going to do that all the way around. It's easier, in my opinion, to do it when the hooks are up. People interchange these, calling them hooks and pins. So if I use those words interchangeably and that gets you confused, I apologize. Just one little dot. Did I get this one? Yeah, I did. And I started on that number 1 pin on the black one. And if you miss one, it's okay. We're just getting down into the gear, because the way that this whole machine works, it's not just the gear in the handle. There are giant gears. When we take the machine apart one day, you'll see it, that run through the whole circle of the machine. So when you're oiling the machine, oh, you see how much better that sounds? I can actually show you what a handle looks like. So this handle is spinning this entire giant thing. The two gears are going to meet and it's spinning the whole thing. So I see a lot of people will say that they're going to replace this gear when you strip the gears of the machine. Only replacing this gear isn't going to fix all of the problems. It's this one as well. It would have to be both of them. But that sounds a lot better. I'm also going to run it in reverse, make sure we're running good and smooth. I think I'm going to put a little bit more oil in there because this one was a little crunchy. The fact that I'm missing a skein of yarn makes me think that this was a returned machine that I got. So I'm going to definitely make sure that we get a lot of oil in here. If you're worried about oil getting on your project, you can just take like a nice paper towel and just wipe the inside of this, which is what I will probably do because I'm not being as careful as I could be with this. But again, this is not like cooking oil. This is oil that is meant for fibers. It's meant for sewing machines. And now we're back at 1. Oh yeah. That sounds a lot better. So this is literally just a piece of paper towel, and I'm just gonna wipe the inside. Take off any excess. And that's it. Literally it. If you don't see any, that's the main goal. And now we're back at 1. The biggest issue of why I didn't want any oil on here, I mean, I'm not exactly worried about it, is that's just going to make it harder to attach the row counter. That's my biggest concern. That's why I'm going to make sure I get it off of right here, because that's what's going to be difficult, is getting the magnet to attach. So now this 40 pin machine does not have a digital row counter. So this is the one that I add to the machine. Now this, there we go, power on. Every time, I don't know if you're gonna be able to see this or not. There we go. The way this works is every time the magnet, can you see the numbers? Yeah. Every time the magnet passes over the orange piece, it counts. So I attach the magnet to the pink part, and I attach the orange piece to about here. That way, every time it crosses over, it can count. So we're going to do that now with some alien tape, and I need a scissor. So again, this is the alien tape. For the orange piece, I cut a rather big piece, maybe 1.5 inches. Maybe that's only 1 inch, I don't know. I eyeball it, about that big. This thing likes to come off on me. I think it's because of the oil. It's fine if it's on a diagonal. I'm gonna put it on a diagonal just like that there. So now I'm gonna take the second back piece of tape off. Just like that. I'm gonna attach it right about there. And then I'm going to take another piece of alien tape. This one I'm going to take the teeniest, tiniest piece of tape, because the magnet is super tiny. Come on. I'm going to attach that to the magnet. Whoa! Throw the magnet at myself. Take the back piece off the magnet, and I'm gonna attach that as low as I can on that number 1 pin on the pink piece. You see how it's on the pink piece? And then you're gonna test it and make sure that it's counting. Mine is not, so I'm gonna try to push it a little bit lower and pull this a little bit higher. And it's still not counting. So sometimes you just gotta like adjust. There we go. Perfect. So now I'm going to pull this up so you can see it. Every time the magnet crosses the yellow piece, it counts. Now to get this thing to work, when I got it, the wires were not attached. And it didn't come with great instructions, but you undo these 2 screws, you pull the wires back a little bit, you put the wires in there and you screw them down, and you put a battery in here. I think you had to take this piece off and you put the battery in there. It really wasn't that difficult to do, but that was that. And then to clear the row counter, you press that button and it clears it, and you just got to remember to do that. But now every time that I go around, it'll count. So if I restart it, and I'm gonna count, let me put it at 0 and go all the way around, and that counted 1. I'll also be using alien tape to mount this to my table. However, for sake of filming right now, I'm going to just put this off to the side because I want to unbox the Addi, and I need all the table space that I can get right now, so that way we have room to unbox it. So we're going to mount this to the table later, and I will show you how I do that. But that is the basics of the Sentro. So let's move on to the Addi for right now. Now, I am not going to lie to you. This is my first Addi 46 pin machine. I do have the Addi 22 pin machine, but I've never unboxed this one, so I do not know what we are in for other than a surprise. It's beautiful. I've honestly been kind of afraid to open it out of the box. I'm like, I don't want to ruin it. It's so perfect. And it is. What is this? Addi stoppers? Huh. Okay, we'll find out what those are together. So these are the clamps, because this machine you actually clamp to the table instead of using, I guess, alien tape like I use on mine. If you're going to use the clamps to secure it to the table, be very, very careful. I have scars on my legs from my other Addi because they are sharp and they will hurt you. These are the legs. So these literally just have screws in them. We're going to just screw them straight to the bottom. That's awesome. This has styrofoam around the handle. Oh, and it comes with extra hooks and stuff. That's nice. Okay. I'm going to say this, and then it's going to happen. In the 4, 5, 6 years I've been using knitting machines, of all the parts that I've broken and had issues with, I've never broken a pin. So that's interesting. And it came with a plastic sewing needle. I'm also not going to use that. I'm going to stick with the metal ones. Let's get her out of the box. Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. It is so much heavier than the Sentro is. Whoop, sorry, I shook you. You okay? All right. And oh my gosh, look at this, a box of instructions. Who'da thunk? I love that. Oh my goodness, look at this. Actual instructions. Wow. So many instructions. I love this. And how to do it and what to do. We love that. Oh, and QR codes for things online. How wonderful. Up and in so many different languages. Oh, it's like a stopper. Oh, okay. So it's a stopper for your needle for when you're working in panels. That's interesting. Okay. Tips and tricks in German. Oh, here we go. Tips and tricks in English. All right. I will read those off to you guys at some point. All right, let's put the legs on this puppy. Actually, I want to open these first. These are the stoppers. Huh. So it's literally for when you're working in panels. You just stick it on there so that way you have to stop, apparently. Does it go that way? Oh, there we go. It goes that way. I like it. That's neat. I like that. That's very simple and very helpful. Not that I work in panels, but you know. All right. Oh my God. Okay, there we go. I'm like so afraid right now. Here we go. Okay. I don't believe I'm actually opening this thing. Ooh! Okay, I need scissors. I have left this in the box for so long. I was so afraid. At first I was afraid. I was petrified. Let's do. Can you see that? Yes, you can. Okay, that's one leg. Oh, that one was a lot easier to get out of the bag. Okay. Two. What did I do to make that other one so easy? Did I do it this way? I did it this way. Aha! It's so shiny. All right. Well, that was a lot easier. I think that's it. Oh, there is also a panel setting on this one too. This one has the circular knitting. Oh my gosh, that is so much more aggressive. And everything is in German. Circular knitting or plain knitting? We want it on circular. Okay, I would have found out one way or the other. Oh my goodness. Do you hear it? And that's for the row counter. That clicking, that was for the row counter because this one actually has a really nice, where is it? There it is. Really nice row counter on it. And this one, instead of having one starting needle, get off the scissor, it has 3. I don't know why they do that. It beats me. I don't know. I don't know. But it is what it is. I don't know. I don't get it. But to reset this row counter, sorry, I'm spinning things. You just spin it all the way back to 0. Oh my gosh, it's so fresh. So fresh, so clean. And this one doesn't have a yarn tensioner. It has this piece. I've never really liked this piece. It's annoying. It's a thing. But it is what it is. People make yarn tensioners for the Addi. I've always tensioned all of my machines by hand. This machine feels so industrial. I honestly don't even know if we're gonna need to like attach it to the table. It feels really sturdy on its own. We're gonna kind of see how we feel about that. I don't know if it's really gonna need it because with the rubber on the bottom, it doesn't really feel like it's going anywhere. Like it's gonna take some oomph to really move it. So I'm gonna see if I even want to attach it, but these, just so we can see what they look like. Oh, these are not coming out. They taped these real good. I'm gonna need a scissor. Yep. There we go. I guess different tables are different heights, so that's why they make them so long. It's like, why do they make these so long? This is the clamp with the wing nut. So this would go... It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. This would go around the leg and clamp onto your table. This would go on your table. You can't see anything of what I'm doing right now. We are struggling here. Okay, hang on. Boop, 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 boop. Let's spin. Nope. This way. There we go. Okay. This would clamp on the leg. This would clamp onto your table. And then you would tighten up your wing nut which way your table is. That's how the clamps work. This piece can dig into your kneecap, and that is not fun. I've seen people put pool noodles on the bottom of these. I've seen a bunch of people do a bunch of different things. They hurt. Be very careful if you use these clamps. They're fun. I have a giant scar on the top of my leg from banging my kneecap into it. It's a good time. Good time. But they're like packaged really crazy well when they come in, so. Yeah. That's a thing. Okay. I am also going to oil the Addi real quick because I think it can run a little bit smoother than what it's currently running because it is a brand new machine. That's just the row counter. That's the noise of the row counter. Don't let that noise scare you. Now, when I do this, I literally like to just pull it with my finger. If your machine does not pull with your finger, your machine is probably broken. Both of these machines, and I'm going to say this, and a lot of people aren't going to like this, and that's okay. Both of these machines are just plastic. Neither of these machines are metal. Just because you're paying more for the Addi does not mean that you're getting a metal machine. It's just a higher quality plastic, but it is an investment, and a lot of people aren't ready to invest in it when you first get it. I definitely wasn't. It took me years to have one of these more expensive machines. There is, in the 22-pin Sentro, there is, from what I've been told, a design flaw, which is why the 22 Sentro pins break so frequently. So in my opinion, I only use the Addi 22 pin. I don't think that the Sentro 22 pin is worth it. I absolutely think that the Addi 22 pin is absolutely worth the money. However, if you're just starting out with knitting machines, there's nothing wrong with the Sentro machines. People just think that they're garbage and don't think, like, they just think that they break and that they're not worth the money. But people are trying to put yarns that the machines don't like in the machines, and then they break, and then they think that they're pieces of garbage. The machines are very, very temperamental on the yarns that they like, and you have to listen to your machine, and you have to be willing to take care of it. And if you're not going to take care of the machine, yeah, it's a cheap piece of plastic. It's going to break. But don't say that it's just cheap plastic if you're not willing to take care of it. Like, there are definitely ways to make these machines last and work. Oh yeah, that's better. You gotta take the machines apart. You gotta clean them. You have to take the machines apart. You have to clean them. You have to do maintenance. You can't just put Red Heart Super Saver through a Sentro machine and think that it's gonna work magic. Machines are very, very, very temperamental with the yarns that you can put through the machines. So to mount this machine, I cut my 4 pieces of alien tape and put them on the 4 corners of the machine. I am going to flip it over, make sure that it's in a good spot, and make sure it's where I want it to be. And I gotta decide where I want it to be. I think this was where I had it. I don't know, I gotta figure out where I want this thing. Hang on. See, I think that this is where I want it. I'm gonna put it in the exact same spot that it was. I have marks on the table from where I wanted it last time. So I'm going to peel the other sticky side off of my tape. Not the sticky side, the paper. I'm gonna line her up and plop it down. Whoop! Line it up and plop it down. And now it's not going anywhere. I'm also using a piece of alien tape to attach my row counter to the table because I have a bad habit of dropping it off the table. and I don't want that. So now that's on there in the spot that I want that, and now we're not going anywhere. Beautiful. Now to start a project, for this I'm going to use Big Twist Value. This is in the color Neon Lights. I'm going to start by dropping a little bit of a tail in about a foot in length. I'm going to hook my yarn on the first needle. Now the next needle, we're going to not let it catch, and we're going to go every other for the entire first way around. This is going to be our cast on. Some people call it the first round, some people call it the cast on. It's the same thing. That number is not going to make a difference. I'm just going to go every other. And now we're back at 1. Okay. Now on the second row, we're going to go every single pin. So it's caught there, it's under this one. You're going to make sure it goes under every single stitch. Now here is where we can put it into this yarn guide. Make sure it's in the yarn guide. And now here is where, make sure you can either see it. Can you see it? Great. I tend to tension by hand. That's something that I have learned over time. You can either pick your yarn tension on this yarn tensioner. That's tight, this is medium, this is loose. I've seen some people go tight and loose, or maybe it goes the other way. Whatever. I'm gonna choose to tension by hand. You don't want that first round to be too tight. I feel like the second round is always gonna be louder than as we continue going, but for right now, I'm going to tension it by hand. But we want to make sure that we are catching every single round. And we're going to keep going all the way around until you get to your number that you want to be at. For this project, I want to be at, let's say 92. Okay, so here we go. This is an instance of a tucked stitch right here, and I don't know if you can see it. Now this is not a drop stitch, and if I'm not careful, these stitches here are going to drop. So I'm going to grab my handy dandy needles. Where are they? And I'm going to make sure that as I go around, these are getting put under the hook because I'm going to go back to that stitch. So I want this to get up under that hook and make sure that it is caught. Here it is. All right, so this stitch here, the yarn didn't go under. Can you see what happened here? This yarn here, I don't know how to really show this to you guys well. This needs to go under here. So this stitch really looks like this. All right, so this round before it didn't do the stitch. Do you see that? Right there. This stitch did not go. So in order to fix it, I'm going to take the outside loop here. I'm going to put it up and drop it back in. That created the stitch from the round before. There it is. You see how that's now the stitch the way that it should be? I'm going to pop this back up. If this does not catch here in this hook, that stitch is going to be dropped, and that stitch is going to drop all the way down. So I just caught that stitch, and now I can keep going back all the way around. Now all these stitches, because I made sure that they drop down, aren't going to drop. And we're good. Now, if you don't catch that on a round like this, it is really rather difficult to fix, and sometimes honestly not even worth it. It's sometimes a lot easier to just go back and fix your whole project. Now that would have been a tucked stitch, that would not have been a dropped stitch. Let's see if I can find. I think I'm just going to end up dropping a stitch for you so you can see what it would look like. And I honestly don't love the way this machine sounds either. Even though this is a brand new machine, I really don't like the way that this sounds. It's a little loud for my liking. See, none of these are tucked, so I can't even show you what a missed tuck stitch would look like. I'm hoping that by the time we get to the end, I'll have a missed tuck stitch. The next one I see, I'm not going to fix it. And I'll show you what it will look like. We're just going to keep going. No, those all look perfect. So I went a little bit over because I think that it's going to be easier to show you what these things look like in the pink, and I'm going to try to force them to happen. So a tucked stitch happens when this doesn't go all the way down before the new stitch. Come on. Come on. Yeah. See, once you get it down, it doesn't want to, because it's not, it knows it's not supposed to. There we go. So both of these get tucked in the hook instead of the one that's supposed to be wrapped around is wrapped around. Do you see that? I don't know if you can really see it that well. But so both of those pieces of yarn are going to be under the hook instead of the one that gets wrapped around. So when it comes back around the next time, both of them are pushed under. So then it's essentially both of those loops are going to get pushed over. And so as it goes down, if you catch it later, that's what it looks like. Do you see that? It's right there. Let's get it a little bit further. Just pull it. It's right here in the project. You see that? That's a tucked stitch. And so can you fix it later on? I mean, yeah, you can. A lot of people, you'd pull it all the way down to where it was because it doesn't want to have that stitch, right? And you're going to go over and under and pull through. Some people will do this with a crochet hook. I just do it with a sewing needle. It's rather simple. Over, over, pull. Over, 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 and you're basically just re-knitting it. Over, 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 and then back onto your hook. But do you see how stretched out this is from trying to fix it? Do you see that? That doesn't just automatically go away. You can see that in the project. So for me, I hate the way that looks. I'd rather remake this entire thing than have this giant mess if I don't catch it right there. Now, a dropped stitch, I'll show you, is when the yarn doesn't catch at all. So I'm going to drop this stitch and pick it up on the next one. Okay, we're going to go all the way around, and you're going to see what happens when we make it back around. Because I think people interchange tucked and dropped stitches all the time. Okay, now we're back at that stitch. Oh no, that stitch is dropped. Okay. And it's going to keep going, like it'll keep knitting, and sometimes you won't realize it. Until you're done with your project, this stitch, I don't know if you can see it. I'm going to shake you a little bit, sorry. This stitch here is loose. Do you see this? This is a live stitch. And what's going to happen? Goodbye. It looks like this because this looks like a dropped stitch. So now let's take this all off. Now I'm making this live. I'm not taking this off to finish the project. I'm just taking this off live. There's your dropped stitch. That's going to keep going all the way down if that's not picked up. All the way, right? That's the one that's fixed. And I mean, you can kind of try to stretch it back into shape. I am not in frame, am I? Nope. No, I'm not. There you go. This one's the one that we picked up. And like you can try to stretch this back into shape. But I feel like no matter what, that looks bad, in my opinion. This one here, that's the dropped stitch. And that's just going to keep on dropping until you pick it up. And dropping and dropping and dropping. Until it gets picked back up. And then it'll drop all the way to the end of the project. Like here's the end. It'll just keep going. Boop, and now you're at the end. That's a live stitch. That was all the way down. So that's a drop stitch. The other one was a tucked stitch. They are different. Now these, I didn't finish this project. This is all live stitches at the top. These will all just pull right out. Just pull right out. Now, I know a lot of people use waste yarn. I'm not one of those people. I don't ever use waste yarn. So again, I'm going to show you how we start it, and we're actually going to finish it this time. So I'm going to reset my row counter to 0, stick my tail in, get back to 1. Every other, and we're good to go. Woo! Shaky shake. To finish it off, I'm going to cut my yarn. I like to leave myself a nice long tail, about a foot, maybe a little longer. I'm going to take my handy dandy needle and I'm going to thread it. If you need the help of a needle threader, you can use that. Maybe I should have left myself a little bit of a longer tail, but that's fine. I let it go through the first one. Here we go. These are now all going to be live stitches, so go slowly with this. This is the waste yarn method. I've never used waste yarn. I don't like it. There is no right or wrong way to do it. If you like waste yarn, more power to you. I'm not a fan. That's okay. So now these are all live stitches. All right, we're going to take our needle and we're going to pick up that stitch and pick up the next stitch. And you're going to do this all the way around. Now that's why I only do a few stitches at a time. Whoop. This is why I only do this a few stitches at a time. If you've seen me do this on live, you've seen that I like to live on the wild side and I will do the whole thing. Now, if you are nervous about picking these up and you're afraid that these are going to pop off, you can just put your finger on the next one. That'll keep it down. But when I do this, I normally pick up a bunch at a time. And you get the hang of it pretty quickly. Pull it through, take the needle off, and now all of my stitches are on there without waste yarn, just the exact same way that they are at the other end. Give your product a good stretch to set the stitches, and you're good to go. Now, if you've ever seen me live with my knitting machines on TikTok, or I think I've gone live here with them too, you know that I have a handy dandy drill. Or a lot of people say, put a drill on that thing. They make these drill attachments, and I have a love-hate relationship with these. Now, for most people, including myself, I'm going to say, don't use a drill. 9 times out of 10 don't use a drill. 80% of the time you will see me going by hand, right? And especially if you're new to the machines, I will say use a 4-volt screwdriver instead. The problem with the drill is that it will go too fast and you will melt this piece either to the handle or you'll melt the handle to the machine. What you don't realize is the drills are heavy and you're not holding it directly where it needs to be held for the machine. So you're holding it at an angle and you're literally melting the plastic. Again, they are cheap plastic. That doesn't mean it's a cheap machine, but it's just plastic. These machines are not metal. So what you're doing is, and I've done it. I have melted many a machine together. Okay. I am guilty as charged. I have a drill. It is so tempting, you guys, to take your drill and make an ear warmer in 2 minutes. Okay. It's so like when you, to sit there and go like this instead of like this, it's hard. And this gets heavy. You're not holding it where it needs to be held. I will link these below. The problem with the screwdriver is that the battery doesn't last very long. Normally I'll get between 3 and 4 ear warmers made before the battery on this thing dies. So, be that as it may, I have not found a screwdriver that can take a battery pack so that way I can keep using it, because screwdrivers are not meant for machines. But be careful with these things, okay? I will link them. Some people have to learn the hard way. I for sure did. I've run them in both directions. I had a machine once that would only run in reverse, like, because the gears were that broken. Just be careful. And you can also, like with the screwdrivers, you can take them and you can make them run this way too, so that way you're only holding it like this. That makes it a little less heavy. I love the 4-volt screwdriver. I really, really, really don't recommend the drill. But either way, you can still melt the plastic. It's just plastic. And then we'll talk about yarn. The machines are really, really picky on what yarns they like and don't. And people are going to be all in my comments. It's a machine. It should take all yarn. Okay, well, no, you're going to break your machine. And when you say it's a piece of crap because it broke your machine, I don't want to hear you cry and moan about it, because it's true. That's the way the machines are. My machines love Big Twist Value, Big Twist Twinkle, Big Twist Heathered, Big Twists. Most of the Big Twist 4-ply, these have been fine. I have yet to find a, like, Joann's yarn Big Twist Value, any of them that are like a normal 4-weight yarn, that the Big Twists have not liked. They make them all like what Red Heart was. Big Twist has come out with like most of the Red Heart colors now. So like the rainbowy fun one that I put through the machine, this is Big Twist. They've come out with so many fun colors now. They have the twinkle, they have all of that. Karen Simply Soft has gone through nicely for me. Karen Simply Soft Party, which is another twinkle yarn, goes through nicely for me. A lot of the Premier yarns go through well for me. Michael's Impeccable does not. I've never had any luck with Michael's Impeccable. If you do, that's fantastic. Some machines like it, some machines don't. Most Red Heart Super Savers, my machines, not gonna happen. I have a lot of Red Heart yarn that I bought when I first got my machines that I still have because I cannot put it through my machines. Landscapes goes through nicely. A lot of like the baby and silkier yarns go through fine, but you kind of gotta listen to the machine. If it starts getting loud and crunchy and you're having a hard time, stop. It's gonna break. Listen to the machine. And I know that sounds crazy, but it's a tool. You have to listen to it, right? Just like anything else. It's a plastic gear. I have bought a bunch of different Premier yarns to see if they will go through the machine or not. That'll probably be in another video. I don't really put velvets through the machine. I've heard some people have some luck, some people don't. I put them through the Addi 22. I've put the cones through. I'm not putting them through the bigger machines, especially not the Sentro. Posh went through my Addi 22. It did not go through the Sentro. It was not happy. So I will do some videos like that coming up of yarns that I will put through the machines if they like it, if they don't. That is coming. The earwarmer tutorial, that's coming. Hat tutorials, those are coming. Those are all things that I'm planning on working on in the upcoming weeks, but I felt like the 101 video had to come out first. And I kind of wanted to gauge people's reactions and how nasty the comments were going to be, if we're being fully honest, because I'm not entirely sure how the comments are going to be. What else do I have for you? 5-weight and up, don't bother trying it. It's not going to work. Blanket yarn, no. Any of this stuff behind me, no. Do I have anything else? Is that all of the 101? I think that might be it. If not, I will add after the fact. But I think that that's all. I think that that's all I have for you guys for right now. So if you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. 2 clicks for a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button if you're excited about the other tutorials that I've talked about or said or anything like that. Ben and I have a second channel. If you like our banter, a lot of you did on my last video. We have a second channel, and we do a lot of that there. Visionary Journal, that's there. Go subscribe to it. We're stupid. We have a house saga going on. There's updates. Visionary Journal. I have a website, crochetvision.com. All of my things that I've had at all of my past markets, everything that's left is now updated on the website, including ear warmers that I've made on these machines. Everything's up on the website right now, including all of my crochet patterns. And I think that's all that I got for you guys. So thank you again so much, you guys. I love all of you, and I'll see you in the next one. You see, this is what's tempting. It's so tempting. Every single time. That's too fast. Do it again. Ooh. Stop, don't break it. Get a screwdriver, don't get a drill gun.